It is said that 95% of the ocean is undiscovered. As we continue to uncover the mysteries tucked beneath those deep waters, we've discovered some interesting creatures, and some creepy ones. Here are my top 10 creepy sea creatures. Sarcastic fringeheads. Yes, that is the real name. Whoever named it must be one sarcastic person themselves. Now these fish look like old men with their bulldog jowls, but once you step into their territory, they will expand their mouths wide to do battle. Once their mouths are open, you can see a row of sharp teeth, and the eerie feeling that you've seen this before, perhaps in a Predator movie. Giant Oarfish. The giant oarfish, also known as the king of the herrings, is the longest bony fish. This fish is shaped like a ribbon, a dorsal fin running along its entire body. Its fins are a striking red compared to the silvery and dark markings of its body. Some scientists believe that this giant oarfish was the source of the legendary sea serpent that many people have seen in the past. With good reason, it takes about 15 people to hold it up. Unfortunately, many people have only seen it washed up on shores nowadays. Could this really have been the sea serpent of the past? Giant Isopod. This little guy is terrifying on its own, being the size of a newborn baby and looking like a tick on steroids. These creatures have been around for centuries. Scientists believe that they were still around when the continents of the world were still stuck together. Thankfully, they are mostly scavengers, living in the dark parts of the sea, though they have been known to catch live prey. They feed on mostly dead whales, fish and squids. Looking at it, it almost looks like one of the kaiju parasites from Pacific Rim. Goblin sharks. Looking like a goblin from the get-go, these sharks get even more creepy. They live 1,300 meters under the surface of the sea and can grow up to 4 meters in length. They use their long snouts to detect any electrical currents underneath the sand and find its prey that way. There is no hiding from this monstrous looking shark, and what's even more terrifying is that when it does find something to eat, its jawbone will become detached to its body in order to grab hold of its prey. Humpback anglerfish. If you've seen Finding Nemo, you'll remember the scene where Marty and Dory end up at the darkest part of the ocean, where they cannot see anything. Suddenly, a light appears in the dark, and they become entranced with the light. Until, of course, the light reaches the source, the anglerfish. This monstrous-looking fish uses its antennae to attract smaller fish, with the light on the end of it. And, once they are close enough, the fish will snap forward and consume the smaller fish. Male humpback anglerfish will find a mate and attach itself onto the female, being much smaller than her, and for the rest of its life, it will simply feed off her blood and will help produce offspring, acting much like a parasite. Crinoids. These creatures are often referred to as sea lilies, and used to be the most abundant of all marine life. However, their numbers have dwindled down drastically and can only usually be found in the Arctic waters. In their adult years, they will find a spot, plant themselves, and remain in stationary positions for the rest of their lives. They will use their many arms to grasp a hold of any fish or small prey that happens to stroll by them, and if their looks weren't creepy enough, they sometimes hang upside down from seawater caverns to snatch prey like a bat. Gulper eels. This eel is odd, with its pelican-shaped mouth and stringy body. Its stomach is very stretchy. This is because the gulper eel will swallow its prey whole, much like a pelican, and digest it while it's alive. It's a good thing these eels feed mostly on small crustaceans and small fish. It's also a horrible swimmer due to its odd-shaped body, so it relies on luring its prey to it with the end of its tail. Pacific Viperfish. These creepy creatures live in the abyss of the sea but will often wander to more shallower areas of the ocean in order to find plentiful prey. Feeding mostly on small fish and crustaceans, they have long slender bodies that can grow up to a foot in length. They have a larger head with sharp fangs like teeth hanging from the outside of its mouth. Its colours range from a dark blue with clear fins to black with light blue fins. Northern Stargazer. This ugly looking fish can be found in the Atlantic Ocean, closer to shore and from the coasts of North Carolina to New York. They bury themselves in the sand, only their eyes popping out, and watch as prey swims by. Once the prey is in range, they will stun the fish with an electrical charge from an organ on top of its head, and then eat them. Colossal Squid. You've probably heard of the giant squid and how terrifying it could be, but this squid far surpasses the giant squid. Scientists have only been able to find a corpse of a colossal squid, and for a scientist to call something colossal, it must actually be colossal. It weighs up to 900 pounds and has arms that range from 13 feet long. At full length, the squid would be 44 feet long. That's longer than a school bus. Whereas the giant squid is 12 feet shorter. Its eyes is the size of a dinner plate. Perhaps this colossal squid was what spurred the myth of the Kraken. It certainly looks like it can take down a ship and send you to Davy Jones's locker. Unfortunately, there isn't much known about these squids, only that their beaks can be found inside of sperm whales. Anyway, I hope you liked this week's lineup, and if you learned something new, leave a like, I'm curious. Also, if there's any that you know that I've missed off this list, let me know in the comments, I actually really like checking them. Anyway, if you missed my last week's top 10, it's here. It's my top 10 Resident Evil facts. And if you like more animal facts, check out my top 10 animal misconceptions.